guys, it's Katie. So today I thought that I would do kind of like a throwback. Did you hear that? Kind of like a throwback favorite. I used to really love this Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus foundation. So I repurchased it and I wanted to test it out on camera for you guys to see if I love it as much as I used to, because it's been a few years since I've actually had this and used it. I am in the color Vanilla, which is number 35. Well, I hope I am in this color anyway, so we'll just have to wait and see. So I have my eye makeup done, but then of course I have no foundation on. I did prime with the Makeup Forever Skin Smoothing Primer, which I've used that one many times before, so I wanted to use something that I am familiar with so that way I can, you know, really test out the foundation. This is what the packaging looks like. It's very simple packaging. It's like a plastic bottle, and then when you open up the lid, it just has this kind of like squeezy tube. And I mean, but the packaging is fine. It's just like nothing super fancy. Let me read you what the packaging says. It says that it is oil-free, water-resistant, and it's a mattifying foundation. And it evens and mattifies the skin tone. Its amino acid coated pigments provide both stability and durability to the makeup. This formula, rich in cornstarch complex, covers imperfections, neutralizes the shiny areas, and leaves a velvet finish. Its oil-free texture leaves a non-greasy and comfortable finish. It's non-comedogenic. We will just have to see about that. I am just going to do half of my face with a brush and then half of my face with a beauty blender. And then if I see one that looks better than the other right away, I will go ahead and, you know, start to use the other one. But let me clip my hair back. So, so beautiful. All right, so like I said, I've already primed my skin, so I am just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand. Ow, that rubber band just like totally came back at me. As far as the consistency goes, I wouldn't say it's runny. I wouldn't say it's thick. I would say it's somewhere right in between, but as you can see, it's not running down my hand, so that can kind of give you an idea of the texture of it. I'm kind of scared. Like, I want to still love this, but I feel like my taste in foundation has changed as well as my skin, so we will just have to see about this. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer. I'm just going to dot a little bit on my right side of my face. I don't remember exactly how much I should be using. Hopefully that wasn't too much. Just going to, this is just like an old school Sigma F88 brush. And I'm just kind of like pushing it into the skin versus like smearing it all over the skin. Right away, it feels like I'm used to, recently I've really been loving like more runny foundations, more liquidy foundations. And right away, I can tell that in real life, it looks very dry on my skin. And I have oily skin, so I could see how this would be a very long wearing foundation because of that reason. You know, if it looks dry on the skin eventually, once your oils kind of mix in with it, sometimes those types of foundations tend to look a little bit better. But so far, I mean, it covered up my redness for sure, but it does look super dry on my skin. And I don't know if you guys will be able to tell on camera just because you kind of have to be like super close up to see that. But most of the redness is gone, but it's still peeking through. So I feel like I'm going to add a little bit more right here. I feel like foundations, like because technology is just advancing every single day, makeup is advancing every single day. And so what we used to love 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago has kind of almost been like updated and improved, and then that foundation kind of becomes outdated. As weird as that is to say about a foundation. I'm gonna go in with some foundation and the beauty blender on this side, and we'll see if that looks any better. I'm wondering if this will make it look a little bit less dry. I can tell right away that there's not as much coverage with this side. It definitely looks a little bit less dry, but the coverage is kind of gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a brush on this area and then go over it with a beauty blender, just kind of dab over it with the beauty blender and see if that kind of takes away some of that dryness, but improves the coverage. I'm gonna go in with like my bronzer and blush and all of that, and I will be right back. Okay guys, so I just put on like bronzer and blush and highlight. As you can see, now I'm glowing. My face doesn't look quite as dry now that I have all of the other products on top of it. I didn't use concealer or anything like that because I didn't want that to mess with how I thought of the actual foundation. Sometimes I don't even wear concealer, so that's not too out of the ordinary. So I did set my face with the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. I always set my face, I have to because I do have oily skin. And then I used the Chanel Bronze Universal as a bronzer. Highlight is the Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. And blush is Tarte Peaceful. And then I just set my makeup with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray as per usual. So this is what it looks like up close and personal. It looks a little bit better with the other products on top of it. Don't look too much at the texture on my cheeks because that's the highlighter, not the foundation. But this is what it looks like up close. And now that I have all of the rest of my makeup on, it looks a little bit better, not quite as dry, so we will see how this foundation wears throughout the day and then see if it's still one of my faves. So I'm going to go ahead and go about my day. I'm supposed to meet Ricky for lunch, and I will check in with you guys a little bit later. Bye! Guys, okay, so I don't think I told you guys earlier what time I was doing my makeup, but it was 10:30. So 10:30 a.m. It is now 12:13. I don't know if you can see that, but trust me, I will not lie. And I feel like I'm remembering now why I liked this foundation so much. At first it did look really dry, but then once I put on my blush and highlighter and all that kind of stuff, it looked fine. And then even after about an hour and a half, now that my oils are kind of mixing in, it looks much better. And I don't know if you can tell a difference on camera, but I definitely can, both like on my viewfinder and on my screen. What I will say is that my pores are very visible right here. And to be honest, I think that I just need a new primer for like a pore filling primer. So I think I'm going to go back to the Benefit Professional one. But if you have any recommendations, let me know. Because the last couple foundations that I've tried, I've just really not been impressed with how they've emphasized my pores. So that could just be me. You might not have a big problem with that at all, especially if you don't have enlarged pores. They're right in here in this area, so when I zoom you in, you will be able to see them. But overall, I think the foundation looks pretty good. I don't look greasy, it doesn't feel heavy on my skin, and I don't look, at least in my opinion, super oily at this point. I mean, yes, I have shine right here, but that's because of my highlighter. So let me zoom you in a little bit so that way you guys can see an up close and personal look. Okay, so as you can see right now, I do have a lot of pores right in here. I do have some skin texture right here. That's because of my highlighter. I'm using the Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. And if you guys are familiar with the Anastasia Glow Kits, I love them, but they do tend to emphasize texture on the skin. So don't pay too much attention to what you see on here. What I would like to focus on is right in here because that's where the foundation is. And I don't have any highlighter right here on the apples of my cheeks. So as you can see the large pores right here. You can also see them a little bit on my forehead right in here. I'm having a bad brow day, so please excuse those. But as you can see, there is some like enlarged pores right here in this area. And I do feel like the foundation is kind of emphasizing those. But as far as oil control is concerned, I don't feel oily at all. And again, my makeup doesn't feel heavy either. I don't feel like I need to blot just quite yet, but it's only been an hour and a half. And so we'll just have to see what this looks like in a couple more hours when I check in again. Hey guys, so I'm obviously not at home if you're looking at the background here. I'm actually in my car outside of Ulta. Can you see? But I thought that I would check in with you about this foundation. So I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder. I'm sorry. But I have to see it, or I guess I could use a mirror. Nope, I can't because then it's blocking. Okay. I feel kind of greasy, I'm not gonna lie. So, like right in here on my forehead, you can see that I definitely have some shine there. And what time is it? It's 2 o'clock, 1:57. Can you see? Could you see that? It's 1:57, and I put this on at 10:30. I don't know. I feel like I used to be obsessed with this foundation and it was the only one that would really control my oil. But, you know, I used a primer that I always used. I used a setting powder that I always used. And I'm just not really impressed with the longevity of it as far as controlling oil. Like my foundation, it's not breaking up or anything like that. So I do appreciate that. But I definitely feel oily right now. So I'm going to take out a blotting paper that I have here. Like, can you see that? That's pretty oily. And so it looks better after I blot. Like it hasn't removed any of the foundation or anything like that. But the thing is that I feel like my forehead hasn't been the thing that has shown the most oil recently. It's more like this area right in here. So after blotting, I feel like it looks okay. It looks a lot better. It looks a lot less greasy and it feels a lot less greasy. So, I don't know, 3.5 hours in. Meh. It is now, let me check. Oh, I'm wearing a watch. It is now 3:52. Basically 4 o'clock. My face right now is a full Monet. If you can name this quote that I'm about to say, major props to you, we should be best friends. From far away, it looks okay, but up close, it's just a big old mess. And that's exactly what my face looks like right now. I am extremely shiny. Like, extremely shiny. Yeah, yes, right here I should be shiny. I put on a highlighter that's super intense, super metallic, super over the top. However, my forehead lately, I think I have lint in my hair. Wonderful. My forehead lately has been kind of dry, actually. And so the fact that it's so oily right now is just kind of like, ugh. And my pores are extremely visible. I usually leave these blotting papers in my car so that way I can just kind of blot on the go. But today I was like, I know I'm going to need one to show them how bad my oil is on my face. So if you're like super squeamish with this kind of stuff, I'm sorry, but like, really? Like, I don't know. It makes me sad because this used to be one of my favorite foundations, but for only being, what did I say, 5.5 hours in and being this oily, I just can't. See, like now it looks fabulous. It's a lot of maintenance because once you blot, it looks great, but before you blot, it's pretty disgusting. So I'm just ready to take this makeup off, to be perfectly honest with you. So what did I say, 5.5 hours in? Do I still love it as much as I used to? No. Would I recommend it to somebody who had a less oily skin than me? Yes, because it could work for you. I definitely would not recommend it for somebody who has dry skin because, like I said, when I first applied it, it looked really dry on my skin. So I just kind of feel like if you already have dry skin that your oils aren't going to mix in with it later in the day to create kind of like a little bit of a glow on your skin. So now I would not recommend this foundation. I used to love it, but that just goes to show you how much technology has improved even in makeup in the last few years. I don't think that it holds up to my oil nearly as much as it used to, and I don't think my skin is even as oily as it used to be either. So I will just keep looking for that perfect foundation. If you're really looking for something with great oil control and that's full coverage, I would recommend the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation, just using it with a beauty blender so it's not so cakey. But if you guys want to continue to see any foundation reviews on my channel, please just let me know down below, and then let me know what foundations you would like me to test out. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.